The rain hammered against the bedroom window while lightning flashed across the dark sky. Laiba sat on her bed colouring pictures while Halima played with her stuffed toys nearby. Suddenly, soft ice cream truck music floated through the air. Both girls froze instantly. "Did you hear that?" Laiba whispered slowly. Halima nodded nervously and climbed onto the chair beside the window. Outside, the empty street glowed under the yellow streetlights, and slowly moving through the rain was an old, colourful ice cream van covered in blinking lights. But something felt wrong. The van moved unusually slowly, and it never stopped at any house. "Who sells ice cream during a storm?" Halima whispered. The strange music echoed louder as the van passed directly in front of their house. Then suddenly, every light inside the van switched off for 1 second before turning back on again. Laiba stepped back from the window with wide eyes. "I don't think this is normal." The next evening, Laiba waited near the window before 9 p.m. "Maybe it won't come tonight," Halima said while eating popcorn. But exactly as the clock hit 9, the same mysterious music floated through the neighborhood again. This time the girls quickly grabbed their jackets and quietly slipped outside before their parents noticed. Rain dripped from the rooftops as the glowing van slowly rolled down the empty street. "Wait!" Laiba shouted while running after it. To their surprise, the van suddenly stopped. The side window slowly opened with a creaking sound. Inside sat an old man with silver hair and kind eyes wearing a bright blue raincoat. Without saying a word, he handed each girl a colourful ice cream cone. "No money needed," he said softly with a strange smile. Before the girls could ask questions, the window closed again. The truck started moving immediately, disappearing slowly into the rain and fog. Back inside the house, Halima excitedly unwrapped her ice cream. Suddenly, a small folded paper slipped onto the floor. "Laiba, look at this." Laiba carefully unfolded the note while thunder rumbled outside. Written in messy red letters were the words, "Don't follow the music tomorrow." A cold chill ran through the room. "Who wrote this?" Halima whispered nervously. Laiba checked her own wrapper and discovered another tiny symbol drawn inside. A strange picture of a forest tree beside a crescent moon. "This is getting creepy," Halima said quietly. At that exact moment, the ice cream truck music suddenly stopped outside mid-song. Complete silence filled the street. Laiba slowly peeked through the curtain again. But the van had completely vanished. The next morning, during breakfast, Laiba and Halima excitedly told their parents everything about the strange van, the free ice cream, and the warning note. Their father chuckled while drinking tea. "Sounds like someone in town is trying to make kids curious," he said casually. Their mother smiled and told them not to worry so much. But Grandma suddenly stopped stirring her tea. Her face became strangely serious. "An old ice cream truck used to drive through this neighborhood many years ago," she said quietly. The girls leaned closer instantly. "People said the driver disappeared during a terrible storm." Halima's eyes widened. "Disappeared?" Grandma nodded slowly. "Some neighbors believed the van still returned during rainy nights." The room suddenly felt colder. Even their father stopped smiling. After school, the girls hurried to visit their elderly neighbor, Mr. Karim, who had lived on the street for decades. The old man opened the door slowly and looked surprised when they mentioned the van. "You saw it too?" he asked quietly. The girls nodded quickly. Mr. Karim invited them inside and pointed toward an old faded newspaper clipping hanging on the wall. It showed a picture of a colourful ice cream truck beside a headline that read, "Local driver lost during storm." The driver's name was Uncle Samir, Mr. Karim explained softly. "People said he helped stranded travellers during storms." Halima looked confused. "Then why are people scared of him, Mr. Karim sighed. "Because after he disappeared, strange rumours spread everywhere. Suddenly, thunder shook the windows, making the girls jump nervous. That night, heavy fog covered the neighborhood. At exactly 9 p.m., the familiar music returned again, louder and slower than before. Laiba and Halima rushed to the window and gasped. The van was driving even slower tonight, almost like it wanted them to follow it. The colorful lights blinked strangely through the thick fog. Then suddenly the van stopped directly outside their gate. The girls watched nervously as the side door slowly creaked open by itself. No one stepped out. Instead, a small envelope floated down onto the wet ground near their mailbox. After the van disappeared again, the girls ran outside to grab it. Inside was another message: "Come tomorrow if you want the truth." Beneath the message was the same forest symbol from before. Their hearts raced as they examined the message, wondering about the truth it promised. Laiba's mind raced with possibilities, while Halima felt a chill run down her spine. "Should we go?" Laiba asked, her voice barely a whisper. Halima hesitated, glancing towards the misty path leading into the darkness. "What if it's a trap?" she replied, biting her lip. But the thrill of uncovering a secret was too tempting to resist. Together, they made a silent pact to meet at the edge of the forest the next day, curiosity pulling them deeper into the unknown. The next evening, Laiba and Halima secretly prepared their bicycles before sunset. "Are you sure about this?" Halima asked nervously while tightening her raincoat hood. "We have to know the truth," Laiba replied bravely. At exactly 9 p.m., the mysterious music began once again. The glowing van rolled slowly down the street, and the girls carefully followed from a distance. The truck passed empty parks, dark shops, and silent houses before turning toward the old forest road outside town. Wind howled through the trees while rain splashed against their bicycles. "I don't like this place," Halima whispered shakily. Suddenly, the van's brake lights glowed red in the darkness. It had stopped near the forest. Laiba and Halima exchanged anxious looks, their hearts pounding in unison. "What do we do now?" whispered Halima, clutching her bicycle tightly. Laiba took a deep breath, her curiosity outweighing her fear. They slowly inched closer, the sound of raindrops pattering on their raincoats, masking the thumping of their hearts. Peering through the thick foliage, they could make out shadowy figures moving around the van, their voices low and secretive. Halima felt a chill run down her spine, but Laiba grabbed her hand, urging her to stay quiet. Just then, a loud crash echoed from the direction of the van, causing both girls to jump back instinctively. The girls quietly hid behind large trees while watching the old driver step out carrying a lantern. Deep inside the forest stood a small wooden cabin with dim light glowing through the windows. Suddenly, faint crying sounds echoed through the trees. "Did you hear that?" Halima whispered fearfully. The old man hurried toward the cabin and disappeared inside. Laiba carefully stepped closer and slowly pushed open the cabin door. Inside, wooden boxes were scattered everywhere. Then they saw it. A tiny, muddy puppy trapped beneath fallen crates, whimpering softly in fear. "Oh no!" Halima gasped. The old driver quickly turned around, but instead of looking angry, he smiled gently. "Thank goodness you came," he said kindly. With a heart full of compassion, the old driver began to lift the crates one by one, his movements steady and reassuring as he whispered calming words to the scared puppy. At that moment, Laiba and Halima stepped into the cabin, their fear replaced by curiosity and concern. "We can help!" Laiba exclaimed, feeling an unexpected rush of bravery. Together, they joined the old man in freeing the trapped puppy, creating a bond that united them in their mission to rescue the innocent creature. Laiba and Halima rushed to help move the heavy wooden boxes while the frightened puppy barked softly. Rainwater dripped from the cabin roof as thunder echoed outside. Finally, the puppy crawled free and jumped happily into Halima's arms. "Poor thing," she whispered while drying its fur with her sleeve. The old driver sighed with relief. "I found him wandering alone near the forest road during the storm," he explained. "I've been trying to rescue lost animals for years." Laiba looked surprised. "So, you're not dangerous?" The old man chuckled warmly. "Sometimes people believe scary stories too easily." The girls slowly realized the truth was completely different from the rumors. As they settled onto the porch, Laiba and Halima listened intently to the old driver's tales of bravery and kindness towards animals. The puppy rested comfortably in Halima's lap, feeling safe amidst the storm outside. She could hardly believe how different he was from the frightening stories she had heard. The forest around them seemed to echo with the sound of raindrops, reinforcing the warmth of their new friendship. The old driver introduced himself as Uncle Samir and offered the girls warm, hot chocolate inside the cabin. Old photographs covered the walls, showing him rescuing animals and helping people during storms many years ago. After I got lost during the big storm years ago, people created ghost stories about my van, he explained sadly. But I never stopped helping others. Halima looked around the cozy cabin filled with blankets, pet food and rescue supplies. "So the notes were from you?" she asked. Uncle Samir nodded. "I wanted to warn you not to follow me because the forest becomes dangerous during storms." Laiba smiled slightly. "But now we know the truth." Uncle Samir's eyes sparkled with nostalgia as he began recounting tales of his adventures, how he navigated treacherous paths and encountered both fierce storms and grateful souls. The girls, captivated by his words, leaned closer, their imaginations painting vivid pictures of the past. "You see," he continued, "the forest has its secrets, but it also has its guardians. I was just one of them." Halima's eyes widened with intrigue. "Guardians?" she whispered, fascinated. "Yes," Uncle Samir replied, nodding slowly. "Just like you two can become guardians of your own story now." Suddenly, a loud crashing noise exploded outside the cabin. Everyone jumped in shock. The puppy barked loudly while the lantern flickered. "Stay here," Uncle Samir warned before opening the cabin door carefully. The girls followed nervously and gasped. A giant tree branch had crashed across the muddy road, completely blocking the path home. Strong winds howled through the forest while lightning flashed overhead. "Our bicycles!" Halima cried. One bicycle had fallen into deep mud near the ditch. The storm was becoming worse every minute. Halima struggled to free her bicycle from the thick mud, her frustration growing with every tug. Uncle Samir stood at the cabin door, his protective nature evident, keeping a vigilant watch over the girls as they faced the storm's fury. The storm raged on lightning, illuminating the chaos of fallen branches and debris, while the howling winds echoed through the forest. Halima, her hands now caked in mud, gripped the handlebars tightly, unwavering in her resolve to retrieve her bike. Rain poured heavily as Uncle Samir turned on the van's bright headlights. "Don't panic," he said calmly. "We'll solve this together." The girls carefully pushed their bicycles while struggling through thick mud. Suddenly, another loud crack echoed through the trees. Halima grabbed Laiba's arm tightly. "I'm scared," she whispered. Uncle Samir smiled kindly. "Being brave doesn't mean you aren't scared. It means helping anyway." Working together, they slowly cleared smaller branches from the road while the storm raged around them. The rain continued to pelt down, but their spirits lifted. Uncle Samir guided them with patience, his voice steady and reassuring. Each time they cleared a branch, the path became a little more visible. With every small victory, Halima felt her fear begin to fade, replaced by a growing sense of bravery. "We can do this," Laiba said, her resolve matching Halima's. They focused on the task at hand, united against the storm. Just as they prepared to leave, faint barking echoed again from somewhere near the road. "There's another animal!" Laiba shouted. Following the sound, they discovered a second tiny puppy trapped beside a storm drain filling with rainwater. Without hesitation, Halima held the flashlight while Laiba carefully used a rope from the van to reach the frightened puppy. Finally, they pulled it safely out just before the water rose higher. Uncle Samir smiled proudly. "Now you understand why I keep driving every stormy night," he said warmly. Holding the tiny puppy close, Laiba felt its heart race against her hands, and she couldn't help but smile at the joy of saving another life. Halima gently stroked the puppy's head, whispering soothing words, while Uncle Samir pulled out a small towel from the van to dry it off. "This little one is lucky we came along," he remarked, glancing at the two girls with admiration for their courage. The storm slowly weakened as the glowing ice cream van guided the girls safely back toward town. Their worried parents stood outside searching the street with flashlights when they finally arrived home. "Where were you?" their mother cried while hugging them tightly. The girls excitedly explained everything about Uncle Samir, the puppies, and the forest cabin. Their father shook Uncle Samir's hand gratefully. Even Grandma smiled warmly. "Looks like the old rumors were wrong after all," she admitted softly. Uncle Samir simply smiled before quietly driving away into the rainy night. As laughter filled the kitchen, the girls recounted every detail of their enchanting escapade, from playing with the puppies to exploring the cozy forest cabin. Uncle Samir's kind smile lingered in their minds, a symbol of the unexpected joy they had found amidst the storm's chaos. Settled on the couch, the family found comfort in each other's company, enveloped by the warmth of togetherness while the rain danced outside. The girls' laughter echoed through the house, reminding everyone that sometimes adventures come in the most unexpected forms. The next evening, the rain had finally stopped. At exactly 9 p.m., soft ice cream music floated faintly through the neighborhood again. "He's back!" Halima shouted excitedly. The girls rushed to the window, but the street was completely empty. No glowing van, no flashing lights, nothing at all. Confused Laiba opened the front door slowly. Sitting neatly on the doorstep were 2 colorful ice creams beside a handwritten note, "Thank you for helping." The girls smiled at each other while the distant music slowly faded into the quiet night sky. And far down the empty street, for just 1 second, colorful lights flickered softly through the darkness. Their hearts raced with excitement as they exchanged glances, trying to decipher the mystery of the unexpected treat. Each girl reached for an ice cream, savoring the sweet moment of friendship and generosity. With laughter ringing in the air, they stepped outside into the cool night, ready to search for the source of the enchanting music they had heard.